First contact with the crystalline child. The mining vessel Horizon's Edge drifted through the asteroid belt of the Centauri system, its powerful scanners searching for rare mineral deposits. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood at the bridge, reviewing the day's yield reports when the ship's sensors detected an anomalous energy signature. What they found changed humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Captain, you need to see this," called out Dr. James Chen, the ship's xenobiologist. His voice carried an urgency that made Maya abandon her reports immediately. On the external camera feed, a translucent crystalline pod pulsed with a weak purple light. Inside, curled in what could only be described as a fetal position, was a being that seemed to be made entirely of living crystal. The pod's surface was cracked, its power systems failing. Without intervention, whatever was inside would die within hours. International salvage laws were clear. They could claim the pod, but the ethical implications of finding what appeared to be a child were far more complex. "Life support is at 12% and falling," reported Sarah Kumar, their engineering specialist. "The pod's structural integrity is compromised. If we don't act now." She left the sentence unfinished, but everyone understood the stakes. Maya made her decision. "Prep the quarantine bay. James, I want you monitoring vital signs the moment we get them. Sarah, figure out what's keeping that being alive in there, and be ready to replicate it. This is now a rescue mission." The retrieval was delicate work. The pod's crystalline structure was brittle, and one wrong move could shatter both container and occupant. As they brought it aboard, the entire crew watched in awe as the being inside seemed to respond to their presence, its crystal structure emanating soft pulses of light. Dr. Chen's preliminary scans revealed an astounding truth. The creature's crystalline form wasn't just a shell, it was their biology. Complex networks of crystal lattices carried energy and information like a combination of nervous and circulatory systems. The child, as they were now certain it was, had suffered severe trauma to several of these pathways. The next 48 hours became a race against time. Sarah worked tirelessly to understand and replicate the pod's environment. They discovered the being required specific frequencies of light to survive, converting photonic energy into whatever passed for nutrition in their species. Maya sent out a distress call on all frequencies, hoping to find someone who knew what this child was and how to help them. The response they received wasn't what anyone expected. A massive ship dropped out of FTL on the edge of their sensors, broadcasting a single message: surrender the luminary hair or be destroyed. The child's crystal structure pulsed with fear at the sound of the transmission. Maya looked at her crew, saw the determination in their eyes, and made another decision that would echo through history. "Sarah, get our engines ready. James, stabilize the child. We're not handing over anyone to people who lead with threats." As the Horizon's Edge prepared for what might be its final journey, Maya recorded a message to Earth. "We found someone who needs our help. They're just a child, alone and afraid. We're bringing them home. If we don't make it, remember that we acted as humans should, with compassion, even in the face of fear." Rodriguez out. The massive ship loomed closer, its weapons charging. But Maya had one last card to play. She opened a channel to Earth's recently established Interstellar Defense Command. "This is Captain Rodriguez. We have a Code Omega situation. Requesting immediate assistance. We have a child aboard." Within moments, the quantum entanglement communicator lit up with responses from across human space. The message was simple: hold position. Help is coming. The Horizon's Edge wasn't alone anymore, and neither was their crystalline passenger. Humanity had just taken its first step into a larger conflict, all because they refused to abandon a child in need. Breaking the language barrier. Humanity's first interstellar fleet arrived within hours, surrounding the Horizon's Edge in a protective formation. The hostile ship retreated, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay in the quarantine bay, where a frightened crystalline child pulsed with weak, erratic patterns of light. Dr. Chen worked around the clock with Earth's leading xenolinguists to decode the light patterns. They discovered the crystal child species, the Lumini, communicated through complex sequences of light pulses that traveled through their crystalline matrices. The patterns weren't just communication, they were thought itself. Sarah Kumar made the breakthrough they needed. She modified the ship's internal lighting systems to project specific frequencies that matched the child's natural resonance. The effect was immediate. The child's crystal structure began to stabilize, their light patterns growing stronger and more regular. The first successful communication came 3 days later. Using a crude light-based interface, they learned the child's name was Prism, heir to the Lumini resonance, their equivalent of a cosmic throne. A coup had shattered their homeworld, leaving Prism as the last legitimate heir. The attackers were a faction called the Discord, who believed the Lumini should abandon their traditional peaceful ways and conquer less enlightened species. Earth's response was unprecedented. Within weeks, research teams from every major nation collaborated to develop better ways to keep Prism alive and communicating. They created specialized crystalline growth chambers that could help heal Prism's damaged pathways. Quantum physicists studied the unique way Lumini consciousness existed as patterns of light within their crystal matrices. But it wasn't just the scientists who embraced Prism. Children across Earth sent messages, drawings, and small gifts. Schools organized lessons about crystal formation and light physics. When Prism first successfully projected a human word, "Thank you," in glowing letters above their growth chamber, it made global headlines. The Discord made repeated demands for Earth to surrender Prism. Each time, humanity's response grew stronger. The newly formed Earth Defense Fleet conducted joint exercises with civilian ships, preparing for the possibility of war. But they also reached out to other species, sharing what they'd learned about caring for a Lumini child. Through Prism, humanity learned that the Lumini were one of the oldest spacefaring races, but their peaceful nature had led many to dismiss them as weak. The Discord sought to change that perception through violence. What they hadn't counted on was finding an ally like humanity, a species young enough to still believe in fighting for what's right, yet advanced enough to make that fight meaningful. As Prism grew stronger, their light patterns became more complex. They began teaching humans about Lumini culture, their philosophy of enlightenment through understanding. In return, humans taught Prism about their own values, the fierce protection of the innocent, the strength found in diversity, and the power of choosing peace not from weakness, but from wisdom. The Discord's next move was coming. Everyone could feel it. But humanity wasn't just protecting a refugee anymore. They were protecting a friend, a child who represented hope for both their species. As Earth's defenses grew, as more allies joined their cause, a simple truth became clear. The Discord had made a terrible mistake. They had assumed that humanity's technological youth made them weak. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength had never been in their weapons, but in their hearts. The hunt begins. The Discord struck without warning. Not at Earth, but at its colonies, its shipping lanes, its allies. They didn't just want Prism. They wanted to make humanity suffer for daring to protect them. What they didn't expect was how humanity would respond to being hunted. Every attacked colony became a fortress. Civilian ships began traveling in convoys, protected by both military escorts and improvised defenses. The Discord's energy weapons were devastating, but human engineers discovered their crystalline ships had a fatal flaw. They were vulnerable to specific sonic frequencies that could shatter their structure. On Earth, Prism had become integral to humanity's defense planning. Their knowledge of Discord tactics and technology proved invaluable. More importantly, they taught humans how to detect the quantum resonance signatures unique to Lumini vessels, making it impossible for the Discord to launch surprise attacks. The turning point came at the Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Discord launched a massive assault on the colony there, believing they had found Prism's location. Instead, they found themselves caught in humanity's trap. Earth's ships appeared from behind Proxima's solar flares, their hulls covered in crystalline arrays designed with Prism's help to absorb and redirect energy weapons. The battle lasted 3 days. When it was over, the Discord had lost a third of their fleet. But victory came at a cost. Thousands of human lives, dozens of ships. The weight of these losses hit Prism hard. Their light patterns became dim and erratic with grief. "Your people die because of me," they projected. "Perhaps I should surrender." Captain Rodriguez, now Admiral, visited Prism personally after the battle. "We're not fighting because we have to," she explained. "We're fighting because it's right. The Discord isn't just after you. They're after everything the Lumini stand for. Peace, understanding, growth. These are worth protecting." Prism's response changed the war. They began sharing deeper Lumini secrets, not weapons, but defenses, ways to create shields that could absorb any energy attack, methods of using crystalline technology to heal injuries and repair damage. The Lumini had always been peaceful not because they were weak, but because they were so powerful that they chose to rise above violence. As human ships began incorporating these defensive technologies, the Discord's attacks became increasingly futile. Other species, seeing humanity's success, began offering support. The Arctians provided faster-than-light technology. The Viridians shared their mastery of quantum communications. But the Discord had one last, desperate plan. Their spies had finally discovered Prism's true location. Not in some distant colony, but in the heart of Earth itself. They gathered their remaining forces for a final, massive assault. Their message was clear: surrender Prism, or watch Earth burn. Humanity's response was equally clear. As Discord ships approached the solar system, they found not just Earth's defenses waiting for them, but ships from a dozen alien species. The Discord had wanted to prove that peace was weakness. Instead, they had united the galaxy against them. Humanity's shield. The Discord's final assault on Earth became known as the Day of Light. Their fleet emerged from hyperspace in waves, thousands of crystalline warships darkening the sky. Earth's combined defenses moved to intercept, but the Discord's desperate fury was unlike anything they'd faced before. The battle reached Earth's atmosphere. The Discord's energy weapons carved burning lines across continents, but humanity had prepared. Crystal arrays on every major city redirected the attacks, transforming deadly beams into harmless light shows. Underground shelters protected civilians, their walls lined with resonance-dampening materials developed from Prism's teachings. Deep beneath London's crystalline defense center, Prism made a decision. Despite humanity's preparations, the Discord's assault was too intense. Ships were falling on both sides, and Earth's shield network was straining. They approached Admiral Rodriguez with an unprecedented proposal: to share the deepest secret of the Lumini. "Our crystals aren't just our bodies," Prism projected. "They're conduits for the fundamental energy of consciousness itself. With enough minds united, we can change reality." The Admiral understood immediately. Earth's crystal defense network, combined with Prism's knowledge and humanity's collective will, could become something more than a shield. The call went out globally. Every human on Earth was asked to focus on a single thought: protection, peace, hope. Prism connected to the crystal network, their consciousness expanding through the crystalline lattices humanity had built. The Discord's weapons flared against Earth's atmosphere and met something new. It wasn't just a shield. It was the combined will of humanity, amplified through Lumini crystal technology, guided by Prism's knowledge. The Discord's energy weapons didn't just stop. They transformed. Beams of destruction became waves of healing light. Crystalline warships didn't shatter. They reformed, their structures realigning to their original peaceful purpose. The Discord commanders found themselves unable to maintain their hate in the face of such overwhelming unity. Their own crystal matrices, originally tuned to destruction, resonated with the peaceful energies surrounding Earth. One by one, their ships stood down. In the aftermath, Earth's crystal network remained active, a testament to what humanity and the Lumini could achieve together. The Discord's fleet was transformed, their ships repurposed for peaceful exploration. But the greatest transformation was in how the galaxy viewed humanity. They had faced extinction-level threats before, but never had they responded by turning an enemy's weapons into tools of peace. Never had they won a war by refusing to destroy their enemy. The Lumini Council, in exile since the Discord's coup, emerged to rebuild their civilization. They asked for humanity's help not because of their technology or their military strength, but because of their unique ability to fight for peace without losing their humanity. As the healing began, Prism stood before the United Earth Council. Their light patterns showed not just gratitude, but belonging. "I came to you as a refugee," they projected. "You made me family." The Discord thought humanity was weak because you protected a child. They never understood that this was your greatest strength. Legacy of Light. 10 years after the Day of Light, Earth had changed. Crystal spires rose from every major city, not as weapons or shields, but as bridges between species. The network that once saved Earth now connected billions of minds across the galaxy, sharing knowledge, culture, and understanding in pulses of light. Prism had grown into a leader who united both Lumini and human traits. They could shift their crystalline form to appear more humanoid, while maintaining their natural light-based communication. Under their guidance, the Lumini embraced change while humanity learned the value of patience and inner peace. Together, they created something entirely new. The Crystal Academy in New Delhi became the galaxy's premier center for cross-species education. There, humans learned to communicate through light patterns, while young Lumini studied human art, music, and emotion. Other species came too, each adding their own unique perspective to this growing synthesis of cultures. The Discord's former warriors found a new purpose. Their deep understanding of crystal manipulation, once used for weapons, now served to heal and build. They became known as the Harmonious, working alongside human engineers to construct vast networks of sustainable energy and faster-than-light travel systems. Admiral Rodriguez, now approaching retirement, often visited the academy to share her story with new students. "We could have won through force," she would say. "We had the weapons, the tactics, the determination, but we chose a harder path, to win by showing our enemies a better way." That's the true legacy of what happened here. The Crystal Network evolved beyond its original purpose. It became a living archive of experiences, memories, and dreams shared across species. Young humans learned to project their thoughts in patterns of light, while Lumini children learned to laugh out loud. The boundaries between species began to blur, not through loss of identity, but through mutual growth and understanding. Prism's final gift to humanity came on the 10th anniversary of the Day of Light. They revealed that the Crystal Network had another purpose. It could detect other young civilizations struggling with their first steps into the galaxy. "Earth protected me when I was alone and afraid," they projected to the United Galaxy Council. "Now we can do the same for others." And so humanity found its true place in the cosmos, not as conquerors or victims, not as saviors or saved, but as bridges. They were young enough to remember fear, hope, and the courage to choose peace even in the face of destruction. They were old enough now to guide others through those same choices. The story of a single crystalline child, found floating alone in space, had become the story of two civilizations, learning to see the light in each other. As new species joined the galactic community, they all learned the lesson that humanity and the Lumini had discovered together. True strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the courage to protect, to understand, and to grow. Across the galaxy, in classes and councils, in ships and settlements, the story was told again and again. The tale of how humanity's first major act on the galactic stage was not conquest or commerce, but compassion. How their greatest victory came not from superior firepower, but from the simple, unshakable determination to protect a child. In the end, that was humanity's real gift to the galaxy, not their technology, their strategies, or their crystal networks, but their fundamental, unshakable belief that doing what's right matters more than doing what's easy. That in protecting the innocent, we become something greater than ourselves. And somewhere in the vast crystal networks that now span the galaxy, Prism's first message to humanity still pulses, a simple pattern of light that carries a universal truth. Thank you for showing me that family isn't about what you're made of, but what you're willing to fight for.